Hey guys, wow, it's been a while since I recorded something. Today I figured I would do a Q&A video. So let's get started.
What's up with the hair? Where did your hair go?
Okay, so for many of you, you may have met me online through YouTube and Facebook, and you may have only known me with long hair. But actually, I've had short hair for most of my life. I only had long hair for the last year and a half or so. It was an experiment. It's something I always wanted to try just to see what it felt like. Ladies, wow, I can sympathize with you. It is hot. So now in Taiwan summer, I just couldn't take it. I had to cut it. But I'm not opposed to growing it out again sometime in the future.
Why don't you make as many videos as before?
Well, I've just gotten pretty busy. As you may know, I teach on Amazing Talker, and those classes have been growing and going great. I just opened some group classes, but that's not all that I do. Actually, I also work with my wife to run one of the English training programs at a Google data center location in Taiwan, and we have some other projects going on the side, so I've just been pretty busy. But I have a lot of video ideas that I want to get out in the next coming weeks.
Why did you come to Taiwan, and how long have you been here?
So my story is a love story. Yes, I came for love. It wasn't the case that I came to Taiwan and then I found love. I actually knew the woman who is now my wife before I came to Taiwan, and she is the reason that I came, in order to date her in person and also to start learning Chinese. And I'm so glad that I did. Well, obviously we got married, and also living in Taiwan has been one of the best experiences and most transformative changes in my life.
What was your biggest challenge adjusting to life in Taiwan?
So I actually didn't experience the kind of classic culture shock that a lot of people think about. It was pretty easy to adjust to life in Taiwan. I mean, I first started living in Taipei, and almost every sign is in Chinese and English. And people are so friendly and helpful, and a lot of people do have some English ability, so I mean, it's really easy to get used to life in Taiwan. The kind of shock I had was actually more of a climate shock or environmental reaction. So actually the first 2.5 years that I lived in Taiwan, I had a lot of health problems that I had never had before in my life. I had stomach problems, some skin problems, headaches. It was pretty bad. And the reason is, I think, what people call 水土不服. It's basically that my body was not used to this environment. The water and perhaps the things grown in this water and soil, like the veggies and fruits. I almost gave up, but I'm glad I didn't. After about 2.5 years, it all went away. It all disappeared at the same time. I guess my body just finally adjusted. So that's something I would recommend if you're planning on moving to another location that's quite different from your home country. Be prepared, you might face some health challenges. Perhaps boil the water for the first couple years that you're there. Only drink little bits of the unboiled water at a time so your body can adjust.
Why do you have 2 Facebook pages? Is one of them a scam?
Okay, so this is a recent change. For many of you who have been following on the original Facebook page that was called Lingua Legend, and then it went through some name changes, that's the page to kind of represent the company that my wife and I started to represent our teaching. And recently I started another page with my name, with Amazing Talker. And basically, if you want to follow me personally and kind of my fan page, then you can probably follow this page. Or if you want to follow the things that we're doing for our company and our teaching, then you can follow on Lingua Legend. Or follow both, of course.
What is Lingua Legend?
So it is pronounced Lingua Legend, and lingua is a Latin kind of origin word that simply means tongue or language. So, and a legend is, of course, something that is so classic or amazing that people tell stories about it, right? So if something is legendary, it's something that maybe people talk about for years or generations. And we chose this name not because I or we are the Lingua Legends, like we're some amazing language teachers or language learners. We actually chose it because we want you guys to be the Lingua Legends. So the goal is that through language education, we can open up doors and new opportunities for people. I mean, learning Chinese has opened the most amazing opportunities in my life, and I truly believe that language can change your future and create truly legendary experiences. So that's the goal.
Why do you record in Kinmen so much?
Okay, so I love Kinmen. And to be clear, I love all of Taiwan. I have lived in Taipei and Taichung, and I love both of those cities. And I've also traveled all around the island. I've been to some other offshore islands, and I love all of the places. I'm just really enjoying Kinmen right now. And I feel like Kinmen is a good bite-sized representation of Taiwan. I mean, get this, in just 10 minutes, I can get two of my favorite places for Taiwan nature. I can get to the beach and be just sitting here enjoying the coast. I can get to a climbing mountain with beautiful views. On top of that, Kinmen has like the great food culture and night markets. It has amazing buildings and traditional architecture. It has the history of the war monuments and the tunnels and everything. It is so cool here, and it's really relaxing. The people are great. But I do want to record all across Taiwan and live in and visit all of the places.
Do you believe Kinmen has ghosts?
Okay, so I know this is a very popular video topic that people make ghost videos about Kinmen, right? And it's for good reason, because a number of the local Kinmenese have ghost stories, and I've heard some of them, and they can be pretty convincing. I personally have never had any kind of experience that I felt was supernatural. I've been down to the beach in the middle of the night, as you might have seen in my Blue Tears video, in a heavy fog. It was pretty creepy, yes, but I didn't really have anything to tell about like seeing ghosts or anything. One thing I think that makes me feel comfortable is Kinmen does have a lot of animals. Cute stray cats, cows, birds, frogs. Almost anywhere you go, there's going to be animals and animal noises around. That usually just makes me feel comfortable. I don't know if this is right, but I have a belief that animals would be able to sense those kind of things, like sense ghosts. And if the animals around me feel pretty comfortable, then usually I feel like, okay, I'm okay.
Why are you not at Studio Classroom anymore?
So some of you may remember me from Studio Classroom or 空中英语教室. I was also on 大家说英语 or Let's Talk in English. I have to say, that was one of the most fun jobs I've ever had. The people are awesome. I mean, you can't ask for better coworkers. So here's what happened. At the end of 2019, I was actually planning on moving back to the States. As you know, I was having health problems and I just was about ready to give up. My contract with Studio Classroom was ending, so I decided not to renew, and I just told them, thank you for all the wonderful experiences, I'm heading back to the States. As you can guess, January, February 2020 came. I never made it back to the States. And during that time where we were kind of stuck here, my health improved. I got better. Also, while I was still planning on going back to the States, I tried to help another person apply for a job at Studio Classroom, maybe fill the place that I had. But they had already filled their vacancies. They didn't have any openings. So later on, I didn't want to put them in the awkward situation where, you know, I wanted to work with them again, but they actually didn't have any opening. And do they tell me no, or do they try to somehow make room for me in the budget? I just decided to avoid that, and we're still great friends. I see them pretty often. I go to visit sometimes, so love those guys. Definitely hope to do things with Studio Classroom again in the future. All right, well, that's probably plenty of questions for today. If you want to ask me a question, I would love to get your questions. I want to be a real, accessible person. So any questions about me personally, my experiences in Taiwan, American culture, the world, life, whatever it is, I will be compiling any questions that are in the comment section of this video to make a future Q&A video. Since it's still early on and I'm making my first Q&A videos, get your questions in now. You still have a good chance that I will see them and answer them. Later on, I'm not so sure. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay safe. I'll see you guys next time.